All right, first impressions and rigging the game. This is really the foundation, the beginning of building Allegiance Capital. Now, the reason Allegiance Capital is so important is that you're going to set the stage for long-term buy-in and loyalty. Right now, remember, in your marketing and in your sales, you're trying to create a desire or an aspiration, or you're digging for pain. There's lots of ways to market and sell. No judgment, you do you. But the reality is we're creating some sort of emotional high to get them to buy. So when they buy, they're going to be buying their new reality. They're going to be buying relief from pain. They're going to be buying their new future. Whatever it is that you've marketed and sold to them, they're going to be buying a new toilet. Whatever it is, there's a high because it feels like something new, like they're moving forward. It's important to realize that at every single high, right, every single high, on either side of that peak is a valley. So for this reason, it's important we control the narrative, we make sure we're aware of the peak, and we mitigate any of the emotional downside of that valley on the other side. So in this session, we're going to talk a little bit about everything I just said. We're also going to learn how to control the narrative. Okay, we're going to address the knowns, and we're going to be aware that there are things that we don't know, the unknown unknowns. We're going to deep dive a little bit more into Allegiance Capital, how to build it, what it is, and why it's so important. And then, most importantly, the 3 questions at every step with a bonus that will improve your Allegiance Capital tremendously. Every single time you do this, you are putting money in the Allegiance Capital Bank. It could be relational capital, however you want to phrase it. The point is we're getting people to buy into you, your brand, your company, and we are being super deliberate about it. I'm assuming you have something that is helpful, so it's a positive thing for everybody, okay? So first impressions. Here's something that we have to face. It doesn't matter how good of a service provider, how good of a product, how good your shipping is. COVID-19, we're in the middle of it right now. That's going to happen. There's known unknowns and there's unknown unknowns, like I said. When COVID hits, when you get sick, when your team forgets to send an email, when you miss a deadline by a few days, these things are going to happen, right? Nothing operates perfectly. And if you set your first impression and build Allegiance Capital appropriately, we've given ourselves a buffer, which is basically you've made so many promises and so over-delivered so often that when you do mess up or when COVID does hit, your customers, your clients totally understand because you've bought that buffer. Okay, so this is an emotional component, which we often miss as technicians, service providers, business owners, is we often neglect the emotions, which we cannot do here. Okay, so first impressions, rigging the game. Here's what happens that you may or may not be aware of. I think we're all aware of it to some extent, but we don't think about it. Before the sale, somebody is saying, hey, you've been really nice to me. You've been helpful. What happens after I give you my credit card? Do I just become a number? Do you forget about me? Am I going to get treated like the last person that was really charming and then sold me and then forgot about me, right? Everybody's carrying baggage from a past relationship with a different vendor, with a different customer, with a different brand. We need to understand that, and we need to be empathetic to it, and we need to build a system to mitigate and say, hey, that's not us, right? The other thing is that in our marketing, we build a know, like, and trust. A know, like, and trust. Get them to know us, get them to like us, get them to trust us. What we neglect to understand is that sometimes, actually oftentimes, they don't fully trust themselves. Okay, so they may know you, like you, trust you, and pay you, but they still don't trust themselves to do the thing they need to do in order to make your product, your widget, your service work. We also have to address that. Okay, we have to say, you know me, you like me, you trust me, thanks for your money. Now we have to build the trust in yourself so that you don't quit, get discouraged, fall off the radar, stop paying us, and never send referrals. Right? That is why we need to be super deliberate about what they see first and how we rig the game. Okay? Now, controlling the narrative, a few ways to do this, and let me tell you again why it's so important. We have to get the buyer to establish further buy-in as quick as possible. Because again, either side of a peak is a valley. Now, they just had a peak excitement. They purchased something that's going to change their lives. Now the narrative Either it goes off on, they take it and run with it, or we control it. We need to control it. Let me give you an example. This is one of the most important stories you could ever hear. I want you to put this on repeat. I want you to tell this to other people. Imagine for a moment that I've convinced you I know the path to the promised land, right? You're pretty convinced, maybe a little skeptical, but you've weighed the pros and cons, and so you gave me your money and said, give me directions. I said, okay, here's what you do. You walk 20 miles in a straight line. Okay, walk 20 miles in a straight line. And then at mile 20.5, you take a left and you walk another 2 miles, right? And then you're going to see a stop sign. And right next to that stop sign is the pot of gold. Okay, pretty simple. Even if those directions are 100% accurate, here's what happens in the real world. You may start walking, right? You're walking along, and at some point, you start questioning, did I go too far? How far is 20 miles? Am I walking in a straight line? Like maybe one of my legs is shorter than the other one. What if I just walked in a big half circle? All these things come into mind, right? This is you taking control of the narrative. It's very likely that most people go, I'm not confident enough to walk another, 15, 20 miles. Being this uncertain. There's a level of uncertainty. We've told ourselves stories. Maybe we don't walk in a straight line. Maybe I'm full of it because at the time it sounded really good, but now that I'm walking, I'm a little confused, right? That is giving precise directions, but not controlling the narrative, okay? That's precise directions, not controlling the narrative. That's what most people are doing. And then they say, what? I gave them directions. But the problem is we didn't control the narrative. So here's how potentially we could control the narrative. All right, so you give me your money. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to walk straight for 20 miles, okay? But here's some stuff I want you to be aware of. After about a mile, you're going to see a big purple house on the left. If you see that big purple house on the left, you're going the right way. And then up ahead, about another half mile, the road forks off a little bit. You just stay on the same road, but sometimes it can be a little confusing. So what you do is you just make sure you stay on the right side of the sidewalk, okay? About a mile after that fork, you're going to see a big tree with bananas on it. If you see that tree, that's great. That means you're 2.5 miles in. So on and so forth, right? Now what I've done is I've controlled the narrative. They're walking and they're saying, all right, cool. Where's that? Oh, there's that banana tree. Cool, I'm in the right place. There's certainty, and I have told them everything to expect, including some of the stuff that might seem negative. You might get confused with this fork. Just a heads up, there's a fork. You might get confused. This is how you handle it. Again, I'm controlling the narrative. It's the same set of directions with a little bit more detail. And I'm saying, hey, don't worry. Right now and in the future, anytime you feel confused, I'm going to unconfuse you before you even have a chance to go to question it, right? Like the fork in the road. That's what we need to do. We need to control the narrative and say, hey, this is what you're going to see. This is what you're going to do. You're going to want to do this, but you should actually do this. And here's why. This is all building allegiance capital. Even if they don't listen to you, right? Say, well, Nick said I should do this, but I'm going to do this instead. Once that ends poorly, they say, man, I should have listened to Nick. That's allegiance capital. We're building this belief that we know what's ahead of them. We know how to handle it. And what we can do is navigate them through all of this sea of uncertainty. Okay, that's how you build allegiance capital. So we need to control the narrative. Just giving a few directions is not enough, especially if there's a long time period between the steps they have to take. Right? So, again, allegiance capital is a few things on a very basic level, which is what we're going to plug in today. Allegiance capital is, okay, well, as long as I do what Nick says, I'm going to get the result he promised. That's what we want to build. We can also build a sense of, well, I trust him. Even things that are not related to what he sells, I go to him for. Like, this is all allegiance capital, and we can actually build it without doing more work. It actually creates a lot less work because, again, back to the story of giving directions. right? If you give the detailed enough directions the first time, there's going to be a lot less phone calls, text messages, support tickets, right? So we actually save ourselves a lot of time. And if we do happen to give a wrong direction, or let's say one of the streets we tell them to go down is closed for construction, that's okay, because you've led me in the right way so many times that it's totally cool that this one time something happened. Right? That's what we need to build systematically and deliberately into our entire delivery. Now, the 3 questions at every step. You're going to have a worksheet that has these listed out for you, but there's 3 questions and a bonus. Okay, the bonus is a little advanced. 3 questions and a bonus. The first is every single step. So imagine again, I give you directions to the pot of gold, and you're walking. At every step, you should be able to look around and understand 3 things. 1, why am I here? 2, am I in the right place? And 3, do I understand exactly what to do next? This is where people kill themselves in fulfillment. They enroll somebody, they sell them a product, and they say, thanks, we got your order. That doesn't tell me why I'm seeing this. Maybe it says, okay, why am I here? Why am I looking at this page? Because you got my order. Great. Am I in the right place? I don't know what I'm supposed to do next, right? And then again, do I understand exactly what to do next? So as you go through your pages, as you go through your newsletters, your emails, your direct mail letters, your coupons, your postcards, 3 questions. I don't care about the graphics. That's all personal preference. I just got paid $20,000 to do this for a company. Go through all their pages and ask 3 questions. Why am I here? Am I in the right place? Do I understand exactly what to do next? Okay. Look at your landing page. Look at your thank you page. Look at your email. Look at your website. Look at every communication you send, and you should answer those 3 questions. If nothing else, answer those 3 questions. Now, the bonus, the Allegiance Capital Multiplier, is exactly what is going to happen after I do that thing. Okay, exactly what's going to happen after I do that thing. So you can see here, here's the 3 questions. Why am I here? Am I in the right place? Do I understand exactly what to do? And then again, the bonus is what's going to happen after I do that thing. So for example, go past the banana tree, and then you're going to come to this fork in the road. Okay, you're going to want to go left, but what you need to do is go right. Okay, so we said, what's going to happen after I do the thing? It could be, hey, fill out this form. Welcome to so-and-so. Please fill out this form so we have your information. Here's a link to fill it out. Okay, and then tell them once you click the link, it's going to take you to a Google form. Seems super simple. It almost seems unnecessary. But what we're doing is we're training people that anytime they click a link, we're never going to bait and switch them. We're telling them exactly, if you do this, this is what you're going to see next. And after doing that 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 times throughout the customer journey, they never question your intentions. They never expect to bait and switch, and they trust you implicitly. So make sure they know, why am I looking at this page? Is this the page I should be looking at? Do I understand exactly what to do next? And then, if you want to take it a step further, just tell them when you take this step, when you click this button, it's going to take you to a YouTube video. It's 10 minutes long. Just tell them exactly what to expect. Build a tremendous amount of Allegiance Capital and their clients. We're not trying to bait and switch them. We're not trying to get click-throughs. What we're trying to do is build Allegiance Capital Trust Authority. Okay, so your homework. Just want you to take this sheet here. This will be available. What happens right after somebody buys from you? List out the steps in as much detail as possible. Now, we're going to use this shortly. So what I want you to do is just kind of brain dump. Just really think about it, line them out, and then don't come back to this, okay? Just brain dump this. I'll tell you when to come back to it. Right now, we just want to get in your mind all the steps that are necessary to get your product, your service, or whatever it is delivered. So this is right after the sale, immediately after the sale, all the way through as many steps as you can think of, but go all the way through at least until they get delivery. So if it's a service, product or whatever, the first time they actually get something tangible delivered to them, line out all the steps between the sale and that point, and then jump over to the next video.